WWE 2K26 is officially on the horizon. Voice recording is already happening. Early details are surfacing and build is happening for WWE 2K26. But before we get into that, we have to see that 2K is not done yet. And they have one last DLC, that is the Saturday Night's Main Event pack, which will have some legendary names from the golden era of wrestling. And we're going to cover everything that you need to know, what's new in the DLC, plus all the early details we have from WWE 2K26, and what voiceovers could mean for the future of the story mode, commentary, and anything else that's going to be coming through. So let's dive deep into this and take a look at everything WWE 2K related. WWE 2K25 is wrapping up its DLC roadmap with one final pack, the Saturday Night's Main Event. This is released on November 12th, and it will have all the 80s WWF nostalgia that you want. Honestly, it might be the best send-off that we can ask for, since I've been getting into a lot of older wrestling with the Deadlock podcast. Let's start with the roster. This is going to have legends on the spotlight from the 80s, Jesse the Body Ventura, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Tito Santana, Junkyard Dog, and Sid Justice. And that's a stacked lineup for fans of that era, with Tito Santana and Jesse the Body Ventura making their first time ever in a WWE game. Before Raw and SmackDown existed, Saturday Night's Main Event was the huge deal back in the day. And we're talking about matches bigger than pay-per-views at some point. We had Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, and guys like Ventura and Orndorff were always headlining these shows. As you know, we're not talking about a reskin for this. This is custom movesets, custom attires, entrances, all that to boot. Junkyard Dog's power-based offense, Tito's flying forearms, Sid's dominance, and it all looks and feels pretty good based off of the era. This is part of the Season Pass, which includes all the post-DLC launch at WWE 2K25. So if you already have that pass, this one unlocks automatically, but you can grab it for $9.99 if you want. And of course, with this, we're going to get My Faction cards. You're going to get 5 Legends with special edition cards that will help you when you're playing My Faction. So this DLC is right around the corner. All right, that's the wraps for WWE 2K25. The last DLC is out, so that means that we might get some My Faction stuff. But other than that, it looks like the game is coming to an end here and going into WWE 2K26. That is the future. As usual, during the earnings call with Take-Two Interactive, they announced that WWE 2K26 was in active development. While no official trailer or feature reveal has dropped just yet, we do know that it's planned to release around WrestleMania time and that the game details usually come out at the beginning of the first quarter of 2026. Now, that's where things get interesting. Voice acting is already shaping up to be one of the biggest upgrades in WWE 2K26. Several WWE superstars have already started recording their dialogue for this game, and according to PW Insider, that includes top-tier talent. This isn't just generic lines for intros. We're talking about full narrative context, promos, and storylines. So what's usually happening is that the My Rise voice lines are being captured to be used for that story, like recent years. WWE 2K26 could be the first to feature fully voiced career mode, both your character and the wrestler you interact with, but we'll have to see on that. On top of that, we have voice acting for the next showcase mode, and if they have a legendary superstar narrate it, we're looking at someone being speculated for a featured star for that showcase, such as Hulk Hogan, who just passed away, CM Punk, Triple H. All of them could definitely be part of the showcase, but we'll have to see, especially with that 80s DLC that just dropped and the passing of Hulk Hogan. They could do something in that route, but we'll have to see how that plays out. Speaking of commentary, it's also rumored to get a refresh with new voice lines being recorded always, and we could see smarter, more reactive commentary with the influx of AI being a big thing now, but I'm not sure how much they're going to use AI, and that's something we'll talk about in a little bit later. As far as graphics and gameplay, we don't know any drastic changes that have been confirmed, but 2K has hinted at next-gen polished, better lighting, smoother animation, improved crowd reactions, and more immersive arenas. Basically, they want to build on the strong foundation of WWE 2K25 without throwing everything out. And here's something to keep in mind with WWE 2K26. This is not the only wrestling game that 2K is working on. There's also that WWE 2K mobile game that has been talked about with Netflix. And don't worry, the console and PC versions of 2K26 are still a main priority, but that mobile game is also going to be coming out. There's also an important conversation we need to have, especially if you're playing on the PS4. There's a really, very real chance that WWE 2K26 might not release on the PS4 at all. Sony has announced that starting in spring of 2026, new PS4 games submitted to the PlayStation will no longer support certain features like activity feed, user storage, and shared media API. That means even if the game launches, they will be missing key functionality. Developers are already reacting to this and may have either dropped out of PS4 support entirely or in transitioning to do so right now. We're in the final phase of the PS4 life cycle, and while some exceptions still exist like sports titles or kid-friendly games, it's clear that the writing is on the wall for the PS4. Sony has clarified that it isn't a full shutdown. PS4 servers will remain live and the console isn't being bricked or anything major like that. But make no mistake, active development is shifting towards the PS5 and beyond, something honestly I think should have happened a long time ago. And why is this happening? First, the PS5 install base is now huge. Millions of players have made the jump, and developers want to take full advantage of the more powerful hardware. More memory, better graphics, faster loading, all of that stuff that the PS4 simply just can't do anymore. Second, modern games are getting more complex. The advanced lighting, physics, interactivity, they just don't scale well on the PS4 without major compromises, which we saw in WWE 2K25. So rather than hold back the experience, many studios are going full next gen, which again, like I said, should have happened before. And that really is all a natural console life cycle. We saw the same thing when the PS3 faded out, and they're not abandoning fans, they're just pushing it forward. Now let's talk about something that could really shake things up for better or for worse, and that is AI in WWE 2K games. In WWE 2K25, AI was being used behind the scenes for features like upscaling attires and textures and help creating in-game content, but it hasn't been perfect. Players have reported glitches like misplaced text, stretching logos, and weirdly smooth or plastic-like skin on some wrestler models. This is a great example of how AI isn't perfect and you have to manage it, because if you don't do it, people will see it as lazy or just terrible, downright bad, and you'll get a negative review from your fans. So if it's not carefully managed, it could go so wrong. AI could change the gameplay for better or worse. We could either get smarter AI opponents that could adapt mid-match, or it could be frustrating depending how it's tuned. Also, there is potential for more immersive crowd reaction, commentary that's not repetitive, branching dialogue trees, and all that. But there is a major concern, as AI isn't perfect, things get wrong, and it could make the game feel worse than actually better. If 2K integrates AI into WWE 2K26 or future games, it needs to enhance the player experience without sacrificing authenticity. If it's used properly, it could take realism to the next level, but if it's used poorly, it could feel like a gimmick, and nobody really wants that. It's a slippery slope, and who knows if it's the right choice to use AI or not, but I have a feeling that's where video games are going to shift going into the future. So let's wrap it all up. Saturday night's main event DLC is dropping, and that's the end for WWE 2K25. Jesse the Body Ventura, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Tito Santana, Junkyard Dog, and Sid Justice all coming on November 12th, which makes the life cycle of the game ending. And with that, everybody's looking forward to WWE 2K26, and they're looking to make a major leap forward as they always do. Fully voiced story mode, showcase mode, refreshed commentary, graphics, all that for the next generation. And there's a strong chance that it might leave behind the PS4, especially with Sony phasing out legacy features starting in the spring of 2026. So if you haven't upgraded, now's the time to start thinking about the next move. So we can't also ignore the role of growing AI in gaming. It's already been used for things like texture upscaling in WWE 2K25, with sometimes getting mixed results to bad. So that's where we're going to end it today. If you guys are excited about WWE 2K26 or the WWE 2K25 final DLC, let me know in the comment section below. And as always, I'm TonyPizzaGuy. We'll see you in another video.